This year, both Mercedes-Benz and Land Rover have introduced new compact crossovers with fancy new names. The GLC and Discovery Sport both blend luxury, capability, and practicality. But which one does it better? Replacing the LR2 is a familiar name with a new twist. It's called the Discovery Sport. It's a smaller vehicle than the Discovery, but it still promises the usual Land Rover off-road prowess by offering 8.3 inches of ground clearance. That means it can crawl over taller objects than pretty much any other compact crossover on the market, including the GLC. Power for the Sport comes from a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that makes 240 horsepower and 250 pound-feet of torque. It's paired up to a 9-speed automatic that can send power to all 4 wheels. As I've found with a lot of transversely mounted engines featuring a 9-speed automatic, the transmission in the Discovery Sport is not that great. It takes a long time to find gears, and when it does finally find them, it jerks hard into them, and the transition between gears a lot of times is less than smooth. The engine does provide good power though, and it is pretty quiet in operation. There is a little bit more road and wind noise though that makes it into the cabin than I expected in a vehicle at this price point. The ride is also a bit choppy for this segment, but that's a byproduct of the Discovery Sport's off-road capabilities. The interior does have the nice usual Land Rover design, and the materials for the most part are pretty good, but some of the switchgear looks tired and its placement seems like an afterthought. Most evident are the window switches on top of the doors. Now if you look at the driver's side and the passenger side, they're the exact same size, and that's so they can easily be switched between left-hand drive and right-hand drive production. But in a vehicle costing this much, it looks kind of cheap. And speaking of a mixed bag, the infotainment system is a bit laggy, yet is very clear and easy to use. The Discovery Sport ride, drives, and handles more like a traditional SUV than a modern crossover. It still leans a little bit more towards off-road prowess than on-road drivability. It's missing that extra little bit of refinement and quality found in the GLC. And smooth the GLC definitely is. The ride is comfortable, the engine is incredibly quiet, and all the controls operate in a fluid, refined way. Handling is okay for a compact crossover as it does take corners better than the Land Rover, but it's not as capable as, say, a BMW X3. Power also comes from a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine paired up to a 9-speed automatic, but the execution in the GLC is very different. Power is listed at 241 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque, and despite weighing about 50 pounds more, the GLC is actually quicker. Mercedes claims it can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.4 seconds, and that's almost a second and a half faster than the Land Rover. Not only is it faster, but it responds quicker to throttle inputs and gets better fuel economy. During my testing, the GLC returned an average of 22.8 miles per gallon, while the Discovery Sport could only muster 19.1. But the biggest difference comes down to the transmissions. The 9-speed in the GLC works great. It changes gears quickly and near seamlessly. This really is one of the best 9-speeds on the market. And I also really like all the customizable adjustable drive modes in the GLC. The Land Rover doesn't have those, but it does have the expected off-road modes. And then there's the interior. It's basically the new C-Class interior inside the GLC, which is great as it's one of our favorites around the autoguide.com offices. All the materials in here feel premium and the switchgear high-end. As a whole, the GLC is just a more substantial, better put together product. But driving is only one of the important aspects of these vehicles. Despite the GLC being over 2.5 inches longer, the Discovery Sport trumps it by offering a 3rd row of seats. Yeah, these 2 back seats may be pretty tight and uncomfortable and meant only for kids, but they're good to have in an emergency. Passengers in the more traditional back seat will prefer the Land Rover, as although legroom is identical between the 2 vehicles, headroom is a little better in the Discovery Sport, and the one-piece panoramic sunroof makes it feel more open and airy. As well, the armrests are set at better angles. Cargo capacity with the 3rd row folded does once again favor the Discovery Sport, but the advantage isn't as big as the numbers would suggest. As tested loaded up with options, both vehicles can become a bit pricey. The Discovery Sport HSC Lux clocks in at just over $53,000, while the GLC 300 4MATIC eclipses the $58,000 mark. With more performance, better fuel economy, and higher levels of refinement, the GLC is the better vehicle. The question is it $5,000 better? In my opinion, yes it is.